Hello everyone, Luke Taylor here with another album review, and today's album is 2009 Alice in Chains, Black Gives Way to Blue. So Alice in Chains is one of the big four grunge bands that come out of Seattle, and I think the whole rise and fall of grunge and the way that's documented has been talked about, and I don't want to talk too much about that. But I do want to talk about is how amazing Jerry Cantrell is and how awesome Alice in Chains is. Alice in Chains has always been one of my favorite bands, and I think they're, as far as the grunge bands and the grunge movement, and being a kid, I was born in 1988, so I wasn't like a Gen Xer, that was like, I don't know, 17, 18 when all those bands were around, but still they affected me greatly, and they were still, the biggest thing to come out of here since Jimi Hendrix. And I have seen Jerry live, I've seen Jerry Cantrell live, and he's just always been one of my favorites. The guy is awesome. Everything he does is just it's so underappreciated because he's a musician's musician. I really think that. He's a fantastic writer. He's a songwriter first and foremost, but his guitar playing is it's so impressively relaxed. I mean, he's just letting the music out. It's really reminds me of David Gilmour, that sensitivity, but he's writing really heavy riffs, really beautiful songs, beautiful arrangements, and he always layers things so well. So Alice in Chains has been one of my favorite bands. I think they're one of the best rock bands in the world. The way that they represent Seattle is perfect. The way they represent this area, and they're still making music here. And this is a review of Black Gives Way to Blue from 2009. But I do want to mention that their newest album, Rainier Fog, they actually came back to Seattle to record here, and I think that's really wonderful. And I want more bands to come out of here and more bands to record here. So thank you that they did that. That's very cool, and I can't wait to review that album too. So Black Gives Way to Blue is the first album that Alice in Chains released after the singer Lane Staley had passed away. And that pain and that suffering and that hardship and the growth that comes from all that and the maturity is all over this record. This is so real. If you're very sensitive to a topic like that, it might be hard to listen to because you feel it so deeply. And it's not rage and pain. It's like it says, Black Gives Way to Blue. It talks about healing and growth, and I think it's very inspirational. It's so real though. You really feel it. You really feel the emotion in this record. And I think that's not only captured in the songwriting, it's captured in the performances. So it's one thing to write a very sad song. It's another thing to actually to be able to deliver that emotion properly in a song where it can really mean something to somebody else. And it's not about you exactly. It's about us. It's about people. And it's about things that we go through together as human beings. And I think that this album, more than any that I've listened to as far as that covers these topics or this style, it really does that. It's a very special album. I can't say enough about it as far as the way that the whole theme was delivered, the thematic quality of it. Because I mean, if you're sad about things and you're struggling with grief and overcoming things, it can be very challenging to go back and approach the thing you love, the thing that brings you great joy, because you're just too sad. So to use music to live life and to communicate life and to live a life through music and to give music that has life in it, it's going to have this balance of those things. And I really am so thankful that Jerry, especially because he wrote these songs, that Jerry did that and that he shared this music with the world, and that this was a part of the process for him to move forward and to overcome and to not give up and not stop, because he's so inspiring to me and so many other people. And this album has some of Alice in Chains' best songs on it, for sure. Check My Brain is just what a song. That is a song that you do not want to stop listening to. The grooves on this are just all over the place. As far as every song has a groove, not that they're progressive or anything. There's a few progressive moments, but I mean the grooves are just, they're so delicious. They're just I don't even, you can just listen to it and you get into that groove. But if like Man in the Box or Wood or that kind of thing, this is a very groovy band. And I actually think Sean Kinney is very underrated too as a drummer. I think he's kind of like the Nick Mason of hard rock. Think about that. His drumming is always very appropriate, and it's just perfectly done with that nice touch, and it follows the guitar so well. and it follows the songwriting so well. So thanks to Sean Kinney for the great drums on this one. I would say too that I don't know why William Duvall has any slack or any criticism from anybody. The guy is fantastic. The guy is extremely talented. His voice is wonderful. He adds a lot to the band. I think that the fact that they're still going with William Duvall and they're still making amazing music with William Duvall proves that, you know, they are made to make music together. They really harmonize so well together, and obviously he knows what a hard job he has and what a hard place he has, and he just is himself, and he adds what he can to the band, and it's fantastic. So I'm very thankful for William Duvall, and that Jerry and made that connection with him, and also wants to keep making music with him, that they want to be Alice in Chains and keep going together. Again, it's just a very challenging subject. You know, it's a very hard thing to lose, you know, your best friend and the founding band member, and then to keep going. So the fact that this album is the first album after that happened, and after a long time, I just can't say enough about the music on this and the thematic content, but then just the quality of the music. You know, if you didn't know about the story and you didn't know anything about the band and you just pick this album up, you're going to love it and you're going to really feel it. It's really deep. It's really deep and it moves you. The grooves on here are so awesome. I've said that already. I'm just repeating myself about the grooves, but you know, it's rock and grunge and hard rock and Alice in Chains, so it's all about the grooves. Some of these riffs are just massive. Jerry sounds amazing. If you're a guitar nerd, you're gonna love to talk about, like, he's using the G&L Rampage and that whole kind of thing with the Bogners, and the way he layers sounds, the way he just kind of like has this broad, he has this huge sound. It's just broad, and he's just one guy, you know. And even live, he just sounds massive. So, yeah. I have to say, I do love every song on this album, but the one that stays with me the most is Your Decision. It just shows the maturity of Alice in Chains as a rock band and the maturity of Jerry as a songwriter, and the way that this album and this band, I think, is very important. I think it's, the thing is like, you know, bands come from a genre, or they come from a movement, but then they just keep going and they keep going and they keep going, and they have this identity, and they grow to do something that only they can do. And I think Alice in Chains is that band, and Your Decision is one of the songs that shows that. It's not a product of any genre. It's a product of a life in music, and it's a product of growth and maturity, and also someone like Jerry having a very big spectrum of musical taste. So I'll put some links below for some of these songs if you don't know them, and you're going to be rocking out and enjoying them as much as I do. This is what a perfect album looks like. This is what a timeless album looks like. My rating is gold. Did you love it as much as I did? Please let me know. And check out the links below if you haven't heard any songs from this album or you want to hear some more Alice. And I will see you later.